Hello boys and girls, welcome to episode 4 where I take a look at potential summer signings for Arsenal. Now, it's been a defensive show for the first 3 because, to be quite honest, that's where we need to strengthen. We all know that. I've gone through one centre-back so far, and this is clearly an area that we need to strengthen. There are so many names that I could go through. Of course, there's the young lad at Ajax. We all know about him, and his name has been mentioned so many times. But I'm not going to mention him because it's not really realistic. Let's be honest about it. Some of the biggest clubs in Europe are after him, and I don't think we're going to be involved in that mix. You've got players like Koulibaly, who we are going to be coming up against when we play Napoli. But again, that's a player that I feel is out of our price range. We're not going to be spending 70, 80, 90 odd million pounds. So you need to kind of look a little lower down, and you need to kind of look within your means, look within your budget. And a player that I am looking at is another one at RB Leipzig. And very, very interesting one, this one. The other day, I went through the file of Upamecano. And a lot of people were, in agreement with my thoughts in regarding him and what he could do for Arsenal Football Club. But I'm going to go for his centre-back partner, which is Ibrahima Konate. Now, I hope I pronounced his name right. What a prospect this lad is as well. Another French international playing at the under-21s, Matteo Guendouzi. Go and put a word in, son. We know your mates. In comparison to Upamecano, he's a year younger. He's 19 years old. Like I said, they're both French. He's actually taller. He's nearly 6'4". Big, powerful, strong. He's got a contract until 2023 though, which could be a sticking point because there's no reason why they would want to sell. If you're looking at the price brackets, there's talking around about £25 million, but you're probably going to be looking around about 30 to 40 to prize him away from Leipzig. If you look at their stats, Upamecano, he's played 115 career games. It's a lot of games for such a young age, but of course there are youth games in there and everything else. Konate, he's played 68 games, but if you just take the Bundesliga, for example, Upamecano's played 54, whereas Konate's played 37, and they're quite comparable. They are very, very similar in style. But what Konate does and allows Leipzig to do is play that high pressing game, get in the faces, because with his ability, especially aerial, and his turn of pace and the quickness and everything, teams can't really counter that. They can't try and look to play long balls over the top for the pressing style because he's so perfect, at counterbalancing that, and he stops that kind of route. He could be a massive signing for Arsenal. Absolutely perfect, to be quite honest with you. You're looking at his attributes and everything else, and physically he excels unbelievably. Got all their stats on the screen in front of me at the moment, and I'm just looking through, and yeah, he could really be that signing. I know I was talking about Upamecano the other day. I feel that he may be just a little bit ahead in the pecking order, and maybe some other clubs are looking at him, but this is one that we really could be interested in. If you're going to compare against players in the Premier League, you best compare against the best, and that's Virgil van Dijk, possibly the best player defensively in world football, clearly the best defender in the Premier League right now. But when you look at their comparisons and their stats and everything else, there's not a lot between them. And I know, listen, he's not better than Virgil van Dijk. I've already said that Van Dijk is the best in the world, but if you want to buy someone and you want to compare, you've got to compare with the best, because if you want them to reach those levels, then they're going to have to be there or thereabouts. So that's why I'm using this comparison. I'm talking about simple stats with Konate, dribbles, for example. Virgil van Dijk, he has an 87.2% dribble conversion rate, which is unbelievable, and it's so good for the way that he plays, in the way that he brings the ball out from defence. Konate, he has an 84.8%, which is really, really good. So it just shows that he's very good on the ball, very composed, and you know, very assured. If you look at the offensive duels, Virgil van Dijk has a 59.3% rate, which is very good, but Konate has a 65.6. So like I said, he's very physical, very strong, very powerful, and in terms of stats there, he actually has better rates than Virgil van Dijk. If you're looking at progressive runs, something that's very, very interesting, something that's unique, and something that we need at Arsenal in terms of the style that Unai Emery wants to bring. Now Virgil van Dijk, he has a 69 in terms of the stats there, but Konate has a 1.07. So again, something that he excels in, very, very strong. Now, I need to reiterate this point very clearly, that Virgil van Dijk is an unbelievable player. Million miles best defender in world football right now. But when you're comparing stats, Konate, given the fact that it's in the Bundesliga as well, granted, I know that, let's pay respects as well though to the league. They're impressive stats. And if he's going to come to the Premier League and he's going to, you know, fit in and do the job, then that's his benchmark, which is Virgil van Dijk. Another comparison that I'm going to make is to who he will be going up against, or who he may be replacing, which is Mustafi. And you can see the difference, big time. You look at the dribbles and the successions. Like I said, with Konate, it was 84.8%. Mustafi, only 74.3%. You look at the offensive duels and everything else. Konate, 65.6, like I said. Mustafi, only 55.7. And in terms of those progressive runs, Konate 1.07, whereas Mustafi is 0.51. Considerably less, and considerably less than Virgil van Dijk as well. So those are the comparisons. And listen, whatever you're going to do in this market now, you're going to have to pay the going rate. You're going to have to go out there and pay ridiculous amounts of money. The fact that this lad has a contract till 2023 is one of the sticking points. 4 years left on his deal. Leipzig do not have to sell. They're not going to want to sell. He, like Upamecano, is the reason why they have the best defence in the Bundesliga right now. 20 goals conceded all season. Market value is around about the 25 to 27 million pound mark. But in this day and age, you don't go by the book. You go by the going rate. And you're going to have to pay well in excess of 30 to 40 million pound. That's a chunk of our budget, but given his age and where he can get to, that sounds like money well spent as far as I'm concerned. So there we go. Those are the defensive stats for Ibrahima Konate. That is the last on my list of defenders that we could potentially sign this summer. As usual, let me know in the comments section what you think. Is this a player that you would like to see at Arsenal? Who would you rather have from Leipzig if you had to choose one, Konate or Upamecano? It's an interesting stat, and I'm sure it's a player that Arsenal are looking at. There has been rumours that it is a player that we are looking at. So yeah, there we go. If you're new around here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Smash a like on this video, and like I said, let me know in the comment section whether you agree or disagree. So that is it for episode 4, until episode 5, where I move into the midfield area and touch on some wingers. An interesting place as well, because there's so many names that we've been linked with. So until that video tomorrow, I'll see you a lot soon. I'm out of here.